12:01 on firing day. Maybe. Who knows?
Sounds like it's inevitable here.
We said yesterday morning around 6:05 on the Nielsen show that there was a coaching announcement coming this week.
Yeah.
And was told that Jeff Jackson was on a flight out today. So if Jeff Jackson's coming to Edmonton, you know something major's going down.
Yeah,
so that's
and
big.
It's very quiet around the offices. I was told like today nobody's around. But if everybody's rallying and mustering back at HQ, something's up. I text you guys the other night. I'm like,
yeah,
sounds like this is happening.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So we'll see. We'll see exactly what they decide to roll out later today. Would they put together a press conference for this afternoon on short notice? Or would they announce that there will be a press conference like tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I would think that we're at noon here. They probably want to give more heads up.
So I think noon's kind of late to announce like a 3 o'clock presser or something.
Although it's been done before.
They've been quick about things before.
Different like hockey op groups with different PR teams have done it differently. Depending on the situation. Like this, I could see them announcing it and then saying there's a press conference tomorrow at 10 at Rogers Place.
Like, do others have relieved Kris Knoblauch of his duties?
Yeah.
There'll be availability tomorrow morning. Yeah, I could see maybe something along those lines.
Especially if Jeff's flying back in. I don't know if Stan might be in Chicago right now.
Well, I would probably get here for an announcment of that variety, I would think.
He should if he's still the GM, which by all accounts he will be.
Oh, I was going to say, what are you hearing?
No. But like,
yeah.
I mean, you've done a very tactful job of spelling it out matter-of-factly.
Dude, it's not hard.
It's not. And
it's laid out.
Yeah. And I listening to the mandate this morning, a lot of Shoggy's talking points. I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about that already. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Like, remember the continuity? Like, what would be the number one reason to keep Stan and Jeff around? And my answer was continuity.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but that's kind of like, well, you hitched your wagon to these guys.
Yeah, you made your bet already. Now you're forced to lay in it, even though it's covered in stuff you don't want it to be covered in.
That's right. Bye, Trevor.
See you, Trev. See you, Mark. Come up with a sweet trade, buddy.
No, Stan not gone. Just riding the pine. Just no.
Okay, 780-218-9999. This text says, just saw Cassidy at Yeg. Yeah, come on now. Unless you got a picture, we can't. Everybody's trying to be funny now.
Is it like the people who saw Matthews and Connor at Cactus West Edmonton Mall?
Are you back in the year 2024 and texting us right now or what?
Yeah.
You trying to pull our leg. That's hilarious.
Oh, the people that are so thirsty for this stuff will believe any little...
Well, and AI is really creepy too. Not that picture of Matthews and McDavid was AI, but
they were in Germany.
If you could... AI... So in this whole AI era... I have to tell you, if you haven't watched the show Capture, it was on Amazon Prime 3 or 4 years ago. It's called Capture.
Okay. And
it's this guy who basically has his life ruined because there's these people out to get him who have these AI abilities, and they're like eliminating him from camera shots that he was in.
Oh,
and
wow.
Now as AI gets bigger and bigger, it's really creepy to go back and watch that. But Capture, check it out if you haven't yet. Chris the Plumber texts in and says, stop this continuity bullshit. It's a horrible reason.
I agree. When I gave that answer, Chris, I said, I don't like this answer, but it's the only one I could come up with to justify.
That's because it's the only one.
And it's not a good answer. So I understand stop this continuity expletive, but what other rational reason would there be to keep this management group with its track record? And on the day that Dusty asked that question on this show, I think it was last Friday, I'm like, I don't even like this answer. And that's the only thing I could come up with. And it took me probably took me like 30 seconds to actually come up with something. And that was it. And it was a crap answer. It's a crap reason. And like Dusty just said, they made their bed full of excrement and they have to lay in it.
Yeah. And somehow try to clean it without actually taking it off the bed and cleaning it.
You're gonna need more than wet wipes.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a little bit tough.
Here's 3 packets of wet wipes.
All right. So 780-218-9999. If you are watching over on YouTube today, you can hammer the thumbs up for us. Please sub to the channel if you want, and we'll get to a few of your comments over there. And lots of text messages continue to fly in. Here's what we know. We were told a couple nights ago that there was going to be a coaching announcement this week.
Yes.
This is the timeline of the week.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple nights ago, kind of start to think there's going to be a
Monday
coaching
night.
changes. Was that Monday? Today's
texted you
Wednesday,
guys.
right? So
Yeah.
you have Monday night. Tuesday, the leak comes out that they're trying to talk to Cassidy.
You guys talked about it on the morning show, right out of the
I guess
gate.
on Monday.
You guys were right on it.
That was Monday night. You said that. So yesterday morning
Yes.
is when we said there's going to be a coaching change.
You guys handled that very well.
And then Tuesday, so yesterday as well, the Saravalli tweet comes out that they haven't got permission to chat with Bruce Cassidy yet. And now today we've got specs saying that Knoblauch is going to be fired as likely as this afternoon.
Right.
Or later today. So that's been the last like 24 hours with this coaching conversation. So I guess, I mean, we do have the answer. Like one of the things we're talking about, well, you know, if they can't talk to Bruce Cassidy, if he was the only guy they're going to talk to, could they circle back around to Kris Knoblauch? And there's just no way you could circle
Not
back around to Kris
after
Knoblauch.
everything that's gone
Like
on.
you've had top players question the coaching. You had, I kind of thought it was the end of Knoblauch, and I said it that first Monday after availabilities. I thought it was the end of Knoblauch when Bowman said they didn't use Frederick properly.
Right.
Like the moment Stan Bowman talked about, like tried to find an excuse for Frederick's season by saying they didn't use him properly, I thought that was sort of the death blow to Knoblauch at the time. So,
Well,
not necessarily surprised that we're here today.
and we talked about a bunch of stuff on the oil stream on Friday, and I said it was a one-way conversation between the management team and the coaching staff, where the coaching staff left that meeting, end of year meeting, going, what the hell was that? That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Knoblauch being frustrated and strategically sitting guys was something I was told happened at times. Because in spite of
Well, obviously,
guys he was
Knoblauch
given
not
to use.
happy with his
Right.
bosses either.
Well,
right?
would
So-
you be happy with Trent Frederick when that's all he can give you?
How about no?
How about
Yeah, I don't think especially if they were like, play him in better spots.
Yeah.
And it'll work.
You have to keep Alec Regula. I don't know if, listen, I'm just using that as an example because Regula was a Bowman guy, but you have to play Regula. That's something, a scenario I could see happened.
Library Pat texts in and says, the only other rational reason for keeping Stanley Jackson, which would be the combination of Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson that we created about a month ago,
Very well done.
is what Shaggy said on the mandate. It's too late to make a change. Okay, but that's also a horrible reason too. I mean, continuity
none of
that
it's good.
sucked and too late to make a change aren't legitimate reasons to keep somebody. I'm sorry. It's just, that just leads to more bad decisions in my opinion, but we'll see what they end up sorting out. Tommy, what do you make of this leak? What do you think of the leak?
Do you want me to give you the broadcaster answer or my true?
Let's try to find something in the middle.
I think it was set deliberately. My instinct is it came as a tactic from the Edmonton side to try to create this buzz and force the hand of the Golden Knights to have to relinquish the opportunity for Edmonton to speak
to
Bruce
talk to
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Oilers are saying we want to talk to Cassidy. Vegas is saying no. So the Oilers are
That's
gonna
my
the
instinct.
Oilers are gonna send it out to say, hey, let's create some pressure on Vegas
Yeah.
to
We want to talk
let
to this guy.
Cassidy to let Cassidy speak to
Yeah.
him.
That's my instinct on it.
That's one way you could have seen this thing going, I guess.
There's arguments for it was Vegas, but like they are busy. They're literally in the middle of trying to punch their ticket to the third round.
Timber Woodsman says if you keep Stanley Jackson, you might as well ship McDavid out now. Not really, but that's basically what they are doing. Well, here's what would concern me is that if you leave these guys in place and it gets to a point that like next offseason, we're sitting here going, okay, what are you going to do with Connor McDavid? Like they haven't taken a major step forward.
Right.
Then you're going to let these two guys decide what a McDavid trade is?
It's not
at that point, you got to blow them out and let somebody else make the McDavid trade. Like if that happens, like if you got to the point that Connor McDavid is like, I'm not signing here, guys, then see you later. Bye-bye. I think that would have to be the automatic at that point. Like if mind you, I mean, that would kind of be follow through on what I'm saying they're doing right now by allowing the guys who put it to a spot that Leon Draisaitl sits there and says they've taken major steps back. You're allowing those same guys who got you there to continue to try to salvage it.
Yes.
So maybe it wouldn't surprise me that if a year from now they're sitting there and going, McDavid's not going to re-sign. We should see what we can get for him. You're going to let the same guys do it again? Like that seems mighty risky to me.
Quite risky.
Is probably the
mighty risky with a underline, bold,
fair way to
italic.
Yeah,
caps,
maybe that's what it
caps
is
as well.
Yeah, maybe all caps, italic, bold. It's all three of those buttons
And that's
at the top of the Microsoft Word document.
You're making a statement.
That's what when you do all three of those.
Yeah.
it's pretty big.
May I dip into the nasty chat?
Of course, yes.
I'm curious. I want to know listeners and viewers' thoughts on this. And this is a sincere question, and because I've seen a few names pop up recently. MedHat44 says, you want continuity, then go with Keith Gretzky as GM and move on from Kris Knoblauch, Jeff Jackson, Stan Bowman movement. Coffee stays on as Poho. Well, I don't think Paul Coffey's going anywhere, but MedHat44 brings up Keith Gretzky as GM. And I'm just, from the fan base perspective, I've seen his name come up a lot, and I'm not slighting. Keith is my friend. Full disclosure, he is my friend. I've gotten to know him very well. I help him out at his hockey schools in the summer. I want to know that after all this time, what has tantalized some of the Oilers fan base to want Keith to now take over as general manager? I feel like he would be interested. He was interested when it was available after he was the interim GM. I thought he wouldn't be, but he was. He said, yeah, I wanted to do it. They obviously went with Kenny Holland, but what do we like collectively? What do we collectively like about Keith Gretzky? What are the things that the fans like about him that want to suggest him taking over as GM? And I'm being sincere. I'm not slighting him. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm just like, what is the thought about getting Keith in there as the GM that Oilers fans like?
Have your say, 780-218-9999 or over on the Nasty Chat as well. If you're watching on YouTube right now, please sub to the channel. We're very close to 14,900 subs, and then the big push to 15,000 as well. Zedmo says he's been a good soldier, stocked the shelves in Baco a couple of times.
Those are fair and true statements.
Sobkirk.
Hey, we just saw him.
He's just here. He was actually picking up his playoff shirt. Which was a little bit late. But I think he was the last guy to pick it up.
It's not like it said 2026 on it.
No. We'll definitely be running it back next year.
It's evergreen.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, he says, for continuity, couldn't you promote Bill Scott? Also, you think Knobs could land a gig right away, like Toronto or something?
I think Knoblauch would get consideration just because his small body of work is very impressive.
I think he'd probably go assistant route before getting another head coach job.
I think that could happen.
Okay.
Like, there's still like a slight in terms of against him being like the man as head coach.
Yeah.
Although I think if a scenario popped up where a team couldn't get like one of the tried and true coaches that was a hot item on the market, I think he would be like in that second tier of options.
Can I throw a thing at you here?
Can I catch it?
If you can.
It's
coming in hot.
All right.
So this morning when the Berube news, and we'll get your Popeye spicy headlines, are going to be at Popeyes all day Friday from 6 until 6. Swing on by. We're going to be raising money for the Ben Stelter Foundation. You get your collector's cup, get your Ben's meal. $1 from each of those are going to go to the Ben Stelter Foundation. So Oil Stream and all of our other shows on Friday. Boston Pizza, or not Boston Pizza. We're going to be Boston Pizza on May 25th. But we're at Popeyes this Friday.
Yep.
West End location right by the Superstore there on 170th. So pop by once the doors open there. When the Berube news broke, and I guess that's your spicy headlines, Toronto now looking for a head coach as well. Yeah, I was on Twitter, and like the one name trending at the top of my Twitter thing, I clicked on it, and a lot of Leafs fans were saying they got to talk to Jay Woodcroft for this job. So let me ask you this. Okay. Who gets a head coaching job first, Woody or Knoblauch somewhere else?
The way it's trending, unfortunately, not unfortunately, the way it's trending with, you get these peaks and valleys where there's a hot name out there. I got to get him. Maybe Woodcroft, but who I think should is Knoblauch.
Think so?
Yeah.
You think Knoblauch's a better coach than Woody was? There's
I
such
think,
a positive vibe around the Ducks right now on Woodcroft, right? Like it's
yeah.
Whereas the Oilers, it's the other side of it.
Yeah. I think from players I've spoken with, fellow assistant coaches that have worked with those guys, the sense I get is even though Kris Knoblauch isn't fiery and very calm on the bench and calm in his press conferences, he can be a silent assassin with his what he does and his tactics. I think he has a better touch in and around the locker room with his players. Who might I think Knoblauch slightly is what I'm saying. There were things that were brought up about Woody that were a bit alarming, and some of the stuff the feedback I got was always bombarding with information.
Bombarding the players with information?
Yes. Not giving the players their space. For example, you have your meeting rooms, you have your coaches' offices, and the players' lounge is the players' lounge. You're not going in there to go over a clip on a tablet.
And Woody was diving into the players' lounge.
There was some of that where I was told a couple of times Dave Manson had to be like, hey, Woody, just save it for the meetings and kind of thing.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, whereas, Knoblauch has a better feel around the room by all accounts, how to handle tact like that. But who's to say Jay hasn't learned from his mistakes? And
he's been working with another veteran. He was with Todd for a long time, but like another veteran coach this year in Anaheim.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes you a better head coach next time around. So
maybe not.
But Woody pretty analytically driven too, right?
Video focused, definitely dives into the numbers.
It's a fit with Chaika, who's a big time analytics guy himself.
They could be aligned, yeah.
That'd be big for Woody if he got the Leafs head coaching gig. Like, good for him.
Yeah, and I think his name was mentioned around after he got let go for Toronto, and
different management group in Toronto.
Right? Obviously, yeah.
Let's see here. Library Pat says, I like the idea of Keith Gretzky as GM because he knows the organization and has been competent managing Bayco. To me, he's the management version of Glenn Gulletson, and it's important to keep him around.
That's a great comparison. Keith, by all accounts, keeps a great vibe down in Bakersfield, makes everyone feel important and like they're contributing to something and that they have a vital role to it, whether they're the second equipment guy or the second line center. Like Keith knows how to maintain a team and all that. Now it's way less stressful when you're a few thousand kilometers away in Bakersfield compared to under the bright lights of Edmonton, and you're just dealing with the farm team that people kind of just want to check in on compared to here again. But he has that vibe and that ability to make you comfortable. He knows how to push the buttons in the right way. If you need a kick in the ass, Keith's going to give you a kick in the ass, and he's going to know every personality in the room to do it the right way. That's the type of guy he is. He has great tact and great understanding and a good vision.
As far as continuity goes, just because he's interviewed for other GM jobs, what about Bill Scott? Like if he's attractive enough as a candidate for a couple of other teams to sniff around him, why not him if they were going to make it? Like if you're thinking, hey, we're going to blow these guys out.
Yeah.
Do they believe in Bill enough to be
is he their Julian Breezeball or whatever?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like
again, friend. I've known him for 16 years. I hope he becomes a GM in the NHL. Quite frankly, I'm rooting for him in Nashville. If he became the GM here, I'd be rooting for him here. I don't know. They might just say, we've had Bill around for a long time. We're going to look at somebody else, like a bigger name, has more clout, which might be a mistake. This is just me spitballing here. Maybe Bill benefits from going to a different organization. I'm pretty sure this is his only NHL team that he's been a part of because he was AHL executive prior to that. And then he was with Michigan State during his college years, and he was a team manager there. Yeah, I would be open to it. I don't know if he would be somebody that Del Cates and Paul Coffey and Jeff Jackson would consider. I mean, yeah, I like Bill.
All right, it is the Boston Pizza Oil Stream. Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola with you. This conversation will continue right into the afternoon where we may have an official announcement here on the Oilers coaching situation. And if that does happen, we will have EST afternoons locked and loaded for you from 1 until 3. And then the Reed Wilkins show today from 3 until 6. Tango texts in and says, did I miss something? Did Bowman get fired? No, Tango, you did not miss that. We were simply talking about, the path of continuing things and what would some other options be in-house if they decide to make a change there. Travis is fired up today. Travis, I love it. Tell your friends about EST, man. Have them hop on board. Travis says, honestly, the narrative being anything than Knoblauch getting fired is being stupid as absolute bleep right now. How the F do you fire a guy that took you to 2 straight finals? Bowman should be gone yesterday, as should anyone else who has anything to do with Knoblauch getting fired. So Travis is fired up. He thinks it's absolutely insane that they're looking at firing Knoblauch. And I would look, man, if you've been following our station for the last 2 weeks, you know my take on this. I would blow out management before I would blow out coaching. And then management, I guess, would make their own decision on Knoblauch if they wanted to keep him or not. Right. But like Knoblauch is on the verge of being out here, and he didn't even get 3 full years again, right? Like he didn't even get 3 full years. Between Woodcroft and Knoblauch, you've got 2 guys. Neither of them got 3 full years, and they were .643 and .642 winning percentages.
Yeah,
think about this for a second.
I'm pulling up Edmonton Oilers history.
Somebody messaged that in today. It was on the Nielsen show today. Somebody's like, Dusty. It was Coach Mike. Actually, let me see. Coach Mike had it. I'll find Coach Mike.
Find it. In the meantime, I will remind folks, Kris Knoblauch moved into 5th place in games coached in Oilers history at 233 with a 135, 77, and 21 record. That's a .624 winning points percentage like Dusty was alluding to. Playoff record, 31 and 22. That's a .585, 2 cup runs. Unfortunately, no wins, and then a first-round exit this year. Go ahead.
Coach Mike says they let Woodcroft go in less than 3 years.
Yep.
After having a .643 winning percentage.
That is correct.
And Knoblauch's at .624.
That is correct.
Right now.
Absolutely.
Like those two would probably be top 20 all time in NHL coaching winning percentages, like minimum 2 years.
Yeah, they are number 1 and 2 in Oilers franchise history. Glenn Sather, .616. Okay, let me look up.
I'm just curious. I think those numbers are good enough to be. I'm pretty sure Woody was up near the top when they blew him out.
Yeah.
And this is less than 3 years for both of these guys, and they're running at .643 and .624 winning percentages.
Okay.
You're going to have a guy who literally got rid of the players that Leon says they were missing make the call on all this stuff. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills that like the entire city isn't with me on this one. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Come on, give me winning percentage. The winning percentage tab won't change.
Son of Dad 94 says Knoblauch could have actually been fired last year when he started Josh goddamn Brown in game 1 of the Kings series. Seriously lucky that he had superstars to dig out that 2-0 hole.
Well,
go ahead, Tommy. I think we've said this before.
By all accounts, there was some politicking that happened behind the scenes to get Brown in for game 1 to justify the signing.
So I'm not sure that's on Knoblauch.
Yeah.
Timber Wisman says, and he'll be fired before his 3-year contract even kicks in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's got to be one of the most awkward conversations for Jackson and Bowman to go to Daryl and be like, listen, man, you know the guy that we came here last year and said he's our guy and we're going to give him 3 years? Turns out he's not our guy.
Not the guy. Okay, I do have the all-time winning percentages.
I'm actually curious for this as far as coaches go. It has to be a minimum to it, right? We don't want
well, this one has everything. So I'm going to weed it out on the fly here. Tom Johnson had 208 games coached, 738 winning percentage. So these are like That was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Cooney Wayland in the 40s.
Cooney Wayland. I always
only
thought
2 seasons.
I always thought Cooney Wayland deserved a 3rd season.
Yeah. So like Lou Lamoriello's in there. Remember he would come in. So like we can just scratch those out of there. Rod Brindamore, 659.
He's at 659.
Scotty Bowman at 657.
Technically, the reason we're in this situation.
Claude Ruel, late 60s, early 80s. That's how long he coached. 648. Jay Woodcroft, 643.
So 5th?
Yeah.
Essentially like 5th among guys who coach a couple hundred games?
Yeah.
In the modern era?
Jay's only coached 133 though. Spread across 3 seasons.
He only got 133 games.
Yeah, and Todd Reardon's actually right behind him, and he's only coached 2 seasons as a head coach.
133 games. That's like a season and a half.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, so he's like top 5 or 6 all time in winning percentage.
Yeah, and then Todd Reardon at 642. He coached 151 games. I mean, like a guy like Pete Green was in the 1920s. So you kind of
Pete Green had no take on analytics at the time. That's why he was blown
no
out.
idea. I don't even know if the forward pass was allowed at that time in the NHL. John Cooper, he's at 639. Toe Blake, have to count him, 634. Jim Montgomery has a 632. Bruce Cassidy is 630. Bruce Boudreau, Filthy Bruce.
Filthy Bruce.
626.
Come on, do it, you cowards.
Yes.
Hire Filthy Bruce.
Sheldon Keefe has a 626. Floyd Smith from early 70s to early 80s.
And then Knobber?
626. And then, you can take out Frank Carroll, who was in the 20s for 1 season. Then Kris Knoblauch at 624.
So the others are going back-to-back firings in a year and a half for one of them, less than 3 years for the other, of 2 guys who are top 15 winning percentage in modern day history.
I'd give them top 10.
Yeah.
Because some of those names are like from the 20s and the 40s. And I'd probably say top 10 with an asterisk.
Well, we'll be sure to keep that in the conversation as we continue to try to sort through what the news could end up being here for Kris Knoblauch a little bit later on. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999 is where you can get in. Gold medal Mark says, McDavid era is cooked. Toast. Done. Over with already. Never thought it would end this badly. Too late with these 2 in charge. Jackson and Bowman will go down in history as the last fail of a brutal era. We thought the decade of darkness was bad. Too little, too late. RCN says Joe Blow would be over 600 with these Oilers teams. I mean, yeah, there's a case to be made there, but how's Joe Blow's special teams looking? That's what I want to know. How's the penalty kill for Joe Blow? The rookie says, guys, question, do we know if Knoblauch's extension was a raise? It's even more humorous if he will get paid more to sit at home than he did to actually coach the team.
I don't know for sure, but I would assume yes.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because they signed him after it was in the fall, but 2 straight Stanley Cup final appearances. I think you get a little bump up no matter what.
The troll says, how many cups did Knoblauch win? He had the best team in the league in 2024 and lost because he got outcoached. Got outcoached in all 3 series he's lost in the playoffs. Okay, but then do you sit there and go, he outcoached the other coach in all the series that he won? Because he won more playoff series than he lost.
The guy that supposedly is replacing him, he outcoached last year.
If that's your theory, he outcoached the guy that they desperately want to replace him.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can just sit here and go, they lost those series because they were simply outcoached. Come on, man. Then you have to give him credit for all the series that they won because he outcoached the other guy.
Remember how well, we're like, man, he's handling Dallas so tactfully, making the right plays, picking the right goalies. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to slight him and use a set of facts, you got to look at the positives and how he managed to create those. So.
Okay, here's another angle that I wanted to look at a little bit in this coaching conversation. We got into this a little bit with Noodles today because Noodles is very much like they need a hard-ass coach. to come in here and kind of.
Yeah, I understand what Noodles is saying.
But then, like Rashog said today, do they go with a hard ass coach, and is that okay? Like with the big guys, and I have to tell you, I don't give a shit what the big guys think if the coach is too hard on them or not. Like, you got to get past that point where we're sitting here going, oh, they're going to bring in a pretty hard ass coach. Oh, but I hope it's okay with the big guys. Like, if you're going to bring in a guy that's going to drop the hammer a little bit, then you're neutering him by saying, yeah, but you can't drop the hammer too much because these guys won't like it. Like, you can't have it that way. If you're going to bring in a hard ass, you're bringing in a hard ass to make those guys commit to some areas of the game where maybe they were lacking in their commitment the last little while.
Defense.
So, but I don't think we can sit here in the market and go, are Connor and Leon going to be okay with a hard coach? Like, what are we talking about here?
I think right now, all that they'll be okay with is if the team is a contender again.
Well, but we have to see that though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's see it. If you go to those guys and like, I hope that's the case, and it should be the case.
Yeah.
But we've been in this market so long, and when Rashog said that today, we didn't get into it because it was already been a long segment, and I didn't want to keep it too much longer. But I was like, I mean, should we in this city be having a conversation of, if they bring in a hard coach, will Connor and Leon like it? I don't know. Do you like losing for 12 straight years, or do you want to win? Right? And if the coach comes in and doesn't play you guys together at all and takes one of you off the penalty kill because he thinks you're more useful in other areas of the game, are you willing to are you willing to stop flying the zone all the time to commit to covering a guy properly defensively? Like, I would have to think those guys are in a spot now. You can't come out in your postseason availability and say that we need to be better, right? You can't criticize your coach multiple times in the media over the last couple of years saying about how we need to be better and doing the same thing over and over, and then refuse a hard-ass defensive-minded coach coming in.
Yeah.
Like, that you can't have it both ways, I guess, is what I'm saying in that situation. Like, if you want to win, it's going to require a bit more of a commitment than we've seen. We know it because they've been close, but they just couldn't get it done. So, how can we sit here in this market and go, yeah, but is that the right type of coach for these guys? I think that's also mind-boggling to me. But
here's an example of that. Going into the season, Leon said, I want to get some Selke votes this year and be in the running for it. I'll reply to that with LOL.
I thought he was actually worse defensively this year than he has been in other years. But I never was on board with the Draisaitl Selke trophy. Like,
he was the one bringing it up.
Yeah, but there was fans before he even brought it up that were like, I think Leon can be that guy. I mean, and maybe that's what it takes. Maybe for this team to win a Stanley Cup, Leon needs to be a Selke caliber guy.
Yeah.
I don't think McDavid's built for that. But maybe Leon is. All right, let's get to this one from old Hugh Jazz. I'll direct this to Tom, as I know he's more familiar with the Oil Kings than Dusty is. How long until Kurt Hill is part of an NHL front office? And shouldn't that be here in Edmonton?
Great question. I saw Kurt last week. Great guy. And I think the Oil are bringing him in to do some stuff, but it just, I don't think it's, from my understanding, not in an official role. They have their meetings coming up right away, I think next week. So Kurt's going to be around for that. And I think Kurt has a pretty good feeling that he's probably going to be on the radar of some NHL teams in the near future. He was, and just a backgrounder on him, he was brought in under Peter Chiarelli with the plan of him, handling the GM duties of the Oil Kings, and then eventually kind of learning the ropes and graduating to the Oilers. And that was 9 years ago.
That was almost a decade ago now, yeah.
It was 2016, 2017.
Well, that 2016 would be a decade ago.
Yeah, and listen, the Oil Kings have been dealt a pretty crappy hand, losing a bunch of their best players to NCAA. And they're trying to, Kurt Hill, Michael Chan, that whole crew is trying to rebuild on the fly, which is tough when you can't do anything. I mean, the kids are getting an opportunity for a collegiate career and extend their hockey career and maybe even continue the the window of potentially making it to the AHL and the NHL. Is part of the evolution of the CHL and NCAA right now. So I think Kurt's going to be on the radar of some NHL teams. I'm biased towards him too, but I think the Oilers recognize the value in him and are kind of bringing him along to do some stuff with them.
Ken over on YouTube today. Oh, it's a spicy day today. These are fun days. These are fun days.
Yeah, they are.
Ken 4027 says people need to stop thinking Knob got this team to the Stanley Cup Finals. 97, 29, and 2 dragged that team to back-to-back Cup Finals, and Knob was outcoached by Maurice in 2 straight years. And then Big Uke replied and said Knob was a huge part of the team making back-to-back Finals. He outcoached DeBoer 2 straight years.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we can't just sit here and pretend that you or I could have coached this team to the Stanley Cup Final, which is like what I think a lot of Oilers fans want to do. Like, were they a talented team? Sure, they were a talented team. But I thought Knoblauch made a lot of really good adjustments along the way.
He did.
Played the goaltender switches pretty, considering what he had to work with between the pipes.
Yes.
Managed to find ways to get those guys make impacts when they had to. When he went to Kapanen in the playoffs, I was just like, this makes, come on, what are you doing? And Kapanen ended up, like, he made some, you want to say, he was out-coached by Paul Maurice? Sure. But I would like you also to give me 5 examples exactly of what were the coaching changes in the Stanley Cup Finals that led to Knoblauch being so heavily outcoached in Paul Maurice. Like, it's easy for us to just sit here and say these things.
Yes.
But if you want, and I'm not saying I'm going to go back and do it because I don't care to go back and do it, but go back, watch the 2024 Stanley Cup Final, and send me, and I will discuss them. Like, send me the 5 major things from that series that Maurice totally crushed Knoblauch in. And I would like to hear. Is it 1 or 2 things? Maybe, but Knoblauch did the same to Pete DeBoer, who people love, to Cassidy, who this team's probably going to hire to replace him.
Yeah.
I think probably getting a little bit of a, was he perfect? He wasn't perfect. But
no,
I'm not going to sit here and blame Knoblauch for not getting a goaltender that could help him. I'm not going to sit here and blame Knoblauch for having Trent Frederick as an absolute anchor for an entire season. I'm not going to sit here and blame Knoblauch for the top 2 young assets in your organization just leaving the organization on you. I'm not going to sit here and blame Knoblauch for not having Kulak for the second half of the season to help his D-line. Like, we're going to sit here and criticize Knoblauch when the top 5 issues that we've had for this team have all been driven from management? Like, how many times do it all comes back to the decisions that were made? Even Noodles today, when he's making a case for Bowman to get a chance to fix this, laid out, like, I didn't want to call it like Noodles a buddy, but I was just like, dude, you just laid out 4 god-awful moments that have put this team in a really tough spot.
Yes.
And we're going to sit here and just say, oh, Knoblauch never did anything positive. Like, come on, you guys.
It was about last January, like January 2025, where Knoblauch started to take heat. Until then, all he got was praise. And then there was a spotty area in that season, 24-25, where he started to take some flack. The Oilers cleaned it up in mid-February, if I'm recollecting correctly. And people are like, he's pushing the right buttons. He knows what he's doing. Wish he'd take a better timeout, though. There's always the timeout thing.
The timeout thing was, I'm not going to give you the timeout thing. I don't know why he
didn't call a timeout. But until the Cup run, more specifically the Cup final, he received nothing but praise for his tactics, his roster deployment, his line shuffling. But it was January of 2025 where we would start to get on the post-game show some heat towards Knoblauch. Then it went away, and then in the final, it came back. And then this year, he was under the gun right out of the gate. And I think after Oil Country had a couple months to decompress and simmer and look back at the final last year, I think the heat started to ramp up on Kris Knoblauch. And then all season long, he was dodging bullets. But that's when the narrative changed, in my opinion, because we would see it on our shows, we would see it on the pre and post game show, and it's like, this is interesting to see the narrative change around him.
Like, if you want to sit here and say that Knoblauch took you as far as he can take you, 2 Stanley Cup Finals, and
within a goal of
with like so close, and you're just not going to get over the hump with him, then I got time for that. But you cannot tell me that he's more to blame for where they're at right now than Jeff Jackson and Stan Bowman. I will never, ever, ever agree with that. Like, it's just so if Knoblauch, and I said it a week ago, the easy thing to do here, you know what's difficult? You know what's difficult? To go back in time, invent a time machine, and get yourself out of a Jari trade and not sign Frederick and what was the other, and the Wallman, $50 million to Wallman. Like, that's really tough to get out of. It cost you a first round pick to get out of the other mistake you made in Mangiapane. And you can give me the old, Knoblauch killed Mangiapane. Did he? Because he was a nothing player in Washington the year before.
That was a bad signing.
I mean, he was a nothing guy in Washington.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to fire one man than try to make up for four of your mistakes. It's just ironically hilarious that the one man you're firing is also going to cost your owner millions of dollars because you've now identified a decision you made on him as a mistake.
Yeah. And say you were to, this is hypothetical, say you were to blow out the management team because of their poor decisions and where they've taken this group. There are now people that they have placed inside hockey ops that would have to go as well. And some of them are getting a lot of high praise, and you're like, okay, well, let's see how they do. But it's not just Bowman and Jackson. There's guys that they brought in underneath them that those are Bowman and Jackson's guys that would probably have to go as well if you were to truly clean it all out.
780-218-9999. I mean, I think you have to sit back, and if you are an Oilers fan that wants this thing to be turned around this year, a coach could go a long way in doing that. The core players listening to said coach and buying into whatever the coach wants will help. But you're also going to need Bowman and Jackson to not necessarily hit home runs, but hit doubles and also not strike out 6 times. Like, that's what's going to have to happen this offseason.
Touch green, baby.
Like, that's what's going to have to happen. So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Hampton Steve Texan says, the Oilers seem solely focused on hiring Cassidy as the next coach. They were also solely focused on hiring Bowman when he was reinstated by the NHL. How concerned should we all be that the organization hasn't completed a full deep dive search when looking for their most recent GM and coach and just focused on one candidate? Now, or not how things are typically done by fully functional franchises. Hampton Steve, that's a very good text because they have gotten laser focused on things. I will use an example. Ike Howard. Who did they trade for Ike Howard? Sam O'Reilly.
Yeah.
What did they do to get Sam O'Reilly? Traded up for him in the draft.
Just scored 17 goals in 18 games. Is going back to his 3rd Memorial Cup. But anyway, continue.
They had a vision and plan for Sam O'Reilly, the type of player he was. And I've been told by multiple people within the organization, they had no book on Ike Howard. They
hadn't done a deep dive on Ike Howard.
He was not a guy that was on their radar a few years ago. And then Howard becomes available. He's a little bit older than O'Reilly, smaller guy, skilled. It sounds like Tampa wants to get rid of him. Tampa wanted a first. I believe Edmonton offered 2 seconds. Tampa scoffed at that. They said, we want O'Reilly. My understanding that there was a lot of pushback internally on that. And then like 2 days later, after all the pushback, somewhere there was a conversation had, and it came down from up high, said, make that trade.
Like, the deal's just done. Like, it's not everybody's on board with it, but we're going to pull the trigger.
He's the hot name. Everybody's talking about, we need to get him.
Actually, you're right. He was the hot name because Tampa wasn't going to give him the opportunity that he wanted. So they were,
to Hampton Steve point, with the Oilers seemed to be solely focused on Cassidy. They were solely focused on Bowman. There is a track record of this happening. It has happened.
All right, 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. We've tried to get to as many text messages as we can. Coach Mike says, any chance Bowman takes responsibility for this firing when they have a press conference about it? like it's going to be an awkward question. I mean, part of me, and I know a lot of the guys there will part of me wants to fly Steve Simmons in and just sit him down the middle and be like, ask this.
He'll be on the Reed Wilkins show, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah.
Steve Simmons on the Reed Wilkins show today?
Yes.
Yes. That'll be happening from 3 until 6.
Yeah, Benny's pumped up.
Yeah. I mean, Reed and Jay got to ask him, if you had one question for Oilers management right now, what would it be? I mean, that is, the Edmonton media here is going to, I would assume, give them the gears pretty good, like Bowman and Jackson, assuming they'd be available for this. It's going to be an awkward question when somebody asks, how do you justify firing a guy whose extension hasn't kicked in and it was an extension you gave him? Like, that's just, I'd be fascinated by that answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see where that goes. All right, 780-218-9999 is where you can climb in. Haji says Holland's approach was to build slowly, brick by brick, and to not overreact and just focus on getting better slowly. Yes, he made some mistakes. The other two GMs, which would be Chiarelli and Bowman, says the other two GMs just wanted to improve no matter the cost and made dumb moves as a result.
Yeah.
And I mean, once again, Haji's, probably just facts that he's stating there. Louis says, Tommy, when you say on high, are you talking about the owner? Is the owner getting involved in hockey moves? Because yikes.
Is this a surprise to you? Because this has been happening the entire time since 2008.
I mean, I would say this, though. It's not just Daryl.
No.
Like Daryl has guys in his ear.
Yes.
That would be saying, hey, this is a good idea, and this is a good idea, and this is a good idea.
Yes. That is a good reminder. And then he would
probably listen to some of those guys, right? Like,
correct. But yeah.
All right, if you were watching over on YouTube today, turn on autoplay because I guess we're on Coach Watch now.
Well,
that's basically what the rest of the day is going to be here on EST.
Carmen's in now, and he's saying reports that Mr. Tommy Gazzola will be the Oilers' new assistant. Not a chance in hell, Carmen. And please don't put anything stupid on Twitter that gets me into trouble because you misquoted me. You've done it many times.
Was that Carmen K. Gilder?
Yeah.
Okay. Bryce the Sparky says, guys, do the Oilers have a cup if Holland is still the GM? I'm not going to go that far.
I don't know.
I'm not going to go that far. But I would say this. I think they're in a better spot today with Ken Holland as the GM for the last couple of years. And maybe if Jeff Jackson did, like if it was just Kenny Holland kind of seeing things and like you mentioned, like looking after the team. And I think organizationally, they're probably in a better spot today if they would have just stuck with Ken Holland.
Yeah. He like I said, he shielded as much as he could from the outside influences. And eventually the shields failed. That's how I would describe his tenure here. To the point where you made one of the most well-decorated general managers in NHL history a lame duck GM for a year, and then basically told him to pack his bags and get the hell out of here. So much so that even though he was supposed to retire after his run in Detroit, and then he gets, reinvigorated here in Edmonton and then shown the door, he ends up going and being a GM somewhere else. Now, that results in LA yet to be determined. Not a great first year. But the fact that I think, personally, I feel like they pissed him off enough that he's like, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going to go do it again and show everybody I'm a good GM. Again, yet to be determined. Let's see what he does in LA. Baggio, back around to the Knoblauch being out coached conversation against Florida. Baggio says, true, he has 97 and 29, but Knob played the goaltending decision perfectly. He just wasn't given a third line that Florida had at their disposal. They had a great Florida's forward depth was much better than the Oilers. And I mean, I don't want to simplify it down to goaltending, but one team had Skinner and Pickard, and the other team had Sergei Bobrovsky. Yeah. Multi-time Vezina. Sergei Bobrovsky is a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Stu Skinner may have a backup job somewhere next year, and Pickard probably won't. You know, like the discrepancy between the goaltending. Yeah, I know hockey, you don't want to say hockey just comes down to goaltending, but when you've got that guy on one side and then the other, like you have to be a monumental coach to overcome that. Like,
yeah,
maybe they sign Bobrovsky this offseason. How about Freddie Anderson?
Well, I have concerns when a guy asks for time off, games off in the middle of the playoffs because he's tired. The only guy I know that has ever done that was Frederik Andersen a year or two ago.
I know his agent. I remember like way back when I was first started at 1260, I spoke with his agent. And this was right when Freddie Andersen was kind of becoming a thing in the National Hockey League. And his agent called me and goes, I offered him to the Oilers when he was fat. Because Freddie Andersen used to be pretty large, right?
He's a pleasant Dane.
Yeah, he was just a larger guy. It's like I offered him, but he was overweight, and he didn't say fat. He said he was overweight, and they weren't interested in him. But I wonder if it comes like full circle now, and a much more experienced, slender Freddie Andersen comes into Edmonton and gets the job done
at 36 years old.
At 36 years old, maybe that was the case. But I know because he had an Edmonton-based agent at the time, he said he definitely offered him up to the Oilers, and they passed on him at the time.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not just the Oilers where that happens. You know, there's other franchises probably.
I'm sure other teams looked at it. I mean, there's other franchises that have the best goaltender in the draft fall to you when you desperately need a goaltender in the future, and you decide to trade down and take Xavier Bargault and let the Minnesota Wild take Wallstead. So. Just some misses here that are just unacceptable.
I know.
All right, Benny, what's coming up on EST Afternoons, man?
So we got Mick Kern joining us as an NHL guest. He's going to talk about obviously the Berube firing. Obviously, we'll keep an eye out on Kris Knoblauch news, assuming that's coming sometime today. We'll see if it's Bruce Cassidy coming in, all that type of stuff on EST Afternoons. And then after that, Reed Wilkins Show, Steve Simmons will be joining us, which will be a fun segment with him. And as of right now, we got Elks GM Ed Hervey on as well later on the show, as both Reed and Jay were at practice this morning. So loaded a couple shows here coming up here.
All right, stay tuned. Stay tuned to see what happens with the Edmonton Oilers. Whatever happens, if it happens today, maybe it happens tomorrow, we'll have you covered here around the clock on Edmonton Sports Talk. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream, brought to you by Boston Pizza. Of course, all of Edmonton Sports Talk is presented to you by Play Alberta as well. Make sure you check out the EST special page over at playalberta.ca. EST Afternoons, and then into the Reed Wilkins Show today between now and 6 o'clock tonight. And it's going to be an interesting week here in oil country. And we're only
a dull moment.
Already has been. We're only... What's today, Wednesday? Yeah, we're halfway through it. We're about halfway through the week, so we'll see where it goes from here. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, sub to the channel and turn on autoplay. Stick around, and we'll continue with the conversation as we work our way through the day. For Tom Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielsen. Thank you very much for joining us on the Oil Stream. Talk to you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6 o'clock on 95.7 Cruise FM. Take it easy.